In the opening days of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, one name spread across the world almost overnight: a Ukrainian fighter pilot fighting alone over Kyiv, defending his capital from the air. At a time when Russian forces were advancing rapidly and the outcome felt uncertain, reports began circulating that a single Ukrainian pilot had already shot down 6 Russian aircraft in just the first day of the war. Fighter jets, one after another, taking them down like they were toys. Videos began appearing online that were said to show him in action, jets streaking through the sky, missiles arcing towards their targets. It looked like Ukraine had found its ace pilot, the first in Europe since World War II, a spear driving straight into the heart of the invading force. They called him the Ghost of Kyiv. At this time, it felt like history was unfolding in real time. The story was simple and powerful. A single MiG-29 pilot intercepting enemy aircraft as they approached Kyiv, outnumbered, outmatched, and still flying. As Russian forces pushed forward, the Ghost became a presence people talked about as if he were already known. A call sign without a name, a figure without a face, and a defender in the sky when the city needed one most. What he stood for resonated immediately. At this time, multiple media outlets expressed doubts that the Ghost even existed at all, that he was easily explained away as a product of Ukrainian propaganda. But on February 26, 2022, former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko posted a tweet of a photograph of the Ghost of Kyiv, confirming his existence and notoriety by the Ukrainian government. At the time of the Ghost's appearance, one video in particular was shared widely and labeled as footage of the Ghost of Kyiv engaging in Russian aircraft. The clip looked aggressive, decisive, and real. And for many people watching from outside the war zone, this was confirmation. This wasn't just a rumor anymore. But as the days passed, the story didn't settle. It grew. New posts added new details, different aircraft counts, different timelines, and different versions of the same events. The same videos appeared again and again, each time with different captions and different claims. But some things never changed. There was still no official name, no confirmed identity, and no single account that matched every version of the story. And slowly, almost subconsciously, questions began to surface. During this time, when the legend was at its peak, this video of the Ghost became popular for all the wrong reasons. The clip was shared by Ukraine's Ministry of Defense and appeared to show the Ghost pursuing a Russian jet over an undisclosed town. At first glance, it seemed to fit the story perfectly, but viewers began to notice something strange. The camera movement didn't look right. It was jumpy, erratic, not what you would expect from a phone recording or a combat camera. As more people examined the footage, suspicions grew, and then the source of the video was identified. It wasn't filmed over Ukraine. It wasn't filmed anywhere on Earth. The clip came from Digital Combat Simulator World, aka DCS, a highly realistic military flight simulator used by aviation enthusiasts around the world. By analyzing landmarks and terrain, users were even able to pinpoint the exact in-game location where the clip had been recorded. According to this article, it was posted originally by user comrade_corb as a tribute to the Ghost. It wasn't meant to be used as propaganda. But once it was removed from its original context and shared during a real war, it became something else entirely. The first true crack in the story.
Catalina, today you're going to tell us about the so-called Ghost of Kyiv, which is either a real person or potentially a myth developed by Ukraine.
In the days and months past, media outlets targeted the Ghost, poking holes in the story, the most obvious being that no one had been identified as the Ghost, how there were no official records of a single pilot doing the nearly impossible feats the Ghost was doing. In late April 2022, Ukrainian officials finally addressed the story directly. There was no single pilot known as the Ghost of Kyiv, no lone ace flying mission after mission, no individual kill count. The Ghost, they explained, was symbolic, a collection of images representing Ukrainian fighter pilots defending their airspace during the first and most dangerous days of the invasion. The Ghost of Kyiv wasn't a man, it was an idea. The myth of the ghost lasted roughly 2 months from late February until late August 2022. An anonymous Ukrainian military expert later told the BBC that the story helped raise morale at a time when people needed simple stories. That conclusion may be disappointing. I know it was for me. How could you not want stories of impossible odds and lone heroes? How could you not want to believe that one person made a difference when everything felt uncertain? But this was, and still is, a real war. And while the ghost wasn't real, the people behind the story absolutely were. One pilot, frequently and incorrectly identified as the ghost, was Stefan Terabalka. Terabalka was killed on March 13, 2022, after being outnumbered and shot down by Russian fighters. After his death, multiple media outlets wrongly attached the ghost's name to him, further blending myth and reality. His helmet and gloves were later auctioned by the Ukrainian government to support the war effort. He was awarded Ukraine's highest honor for bravery, receiving the title Hero of Ukraine. Another pilot closely tied to the ghost narrative was Andriy Pilshikov, known by the call sign Juice. Pilshikov became one of the most recognizable faces of the Ukrainian Air Force. He gave interviews to international media, met with U.S. lawmakers, and was directly responsible for America shipping more F-16s to Ukraine during the war. Images of him were used symbolically in connection with the ghost story. He even helped create a Ghost of Kyiv Lego minifigure to raise funds for Ukraine. Pilshikov later described the ghost as a form of psychological warfare, a way of saying, "We're still here and we're still flying." He died on August 25, 2023, when two Il-39 jets collided midair during a training flight. The Ghost of Kyiv never existed as a single person. But in war, stories like this matter. They inspire, they unify, and they give shape to courage when reality is too complex to capture in one name. And sometimes, the most powerful stories aren't about who someone was, but about what they stood for.
Ворожі кайдани.